Hello and welcome to Microsoft Mechanics Live. Coming up, we're going to take a demo-rich tour of the merger of AI, machine learning, IoT, and real-time analytics with Azure Data Bricks and mixed reality through the HoloLens. We're going to walk you through a real-world application and then deconstruct how we can leverage the technology in your environment. And to do that, I'm joined by one of our all-time favorites on Microsoft Mechanics, MR Ben Walters.
Thank you, Jeremy. It's great to be back.
So over the past year, we're seeing that there's a lot more going on in the area of IoT and machine learning. And Microsoft itself has a comprehensive IoT platform spanning device connectivity, management, security, analytics. We did a show actually with Jeff Holland not too long ago where we toured all these capabilities. And to add to that, now we can merge those capabilities to build MR, or mixed reality solutions, on top of them.
Yeah, and this is a really interesting use case, especially as we look at taking all of that data we have in the IoT devices out there in the field, reasoning over that with cognitive services and building machine learning models, and then being able to simulate the real world in the virtual world with mixed reality. So let's jump straight on in, and I'll show you exactly how this comes together. So what I have here is the opening web page for a system from a company called eSmart Systems. Now, eSmart have actually partnered with Microsoft to create this application, and they're responsible for managing the power grids across Europe. They're really worried about maintaining an uptime of their power grid and also ensuring that they keep people safe as well. And this is our field technician view, and what this allows me to do is to be able to get a high-level view of my power grids. I can see where there are problems and what's happening, and as I drill down, I get more and more information. Now, eSmart Systems have deployed IoT sensors across their power grid, from substations to transformers, and also on those pylons as well. And what this does is gives them a view in real time as what's happening in that power grid. And so you can see, I can see things like grid load, I can see the temperature of my pylons, I can also see line voltage down here in the bottom left corner across the day and what's happening there. And because we have machine learning and analytics, I can also start to predict where my line voltage is going to go. And you can see here, we're actually on this blue line, about to spike over our maximum, which is really bad, could take down the entire grid.
It's not good, probably, that we're seeing a lot of red here on this visual in terms of all the different things that are about to break effectively.
That's right, and it's one of those things that we can go and provide things like prescriptive analytics and the ability for people to be able to do things. So I could, for example, click on this pylon and get a recommendation to reroute my power, which buys me a little bit of time. But honestly, this grid's still at risk, and so we really need to figure out how we're going to go and address that.
And we're seeing here, we've got this voltage spike in the lower left corner with live voltage. So yeah, we got to get out there. The other thing is, to be able to go out there, you've got to send technicians, right?
Yeah, and previously, we'd send engineers out, they'd have to assess a power line, figure out what the problem was. But now what we're doing is we're actually sending out drones to be able to assess those power lines and take a look at those as well. And so what we have here is eSmart System created this connected drone platform. These drones are equipped with a combination of infrared and LiDAR scanners, and then they've partnered those with high-definition cameras as well to be able to run cognitive services over the images they've taken of the power lines. Now, these images are passed through deep learning models that are running locally on those drones. As they start to find issues or they identify issues in those pictures, they can then use the LiDAR scanners and high-def cameras to be able to take a full 3D representation of the problem component and then be able to address that off-site before they send someone out there.
And now as an engineer, in these cases, especially you're in Norway here, so it's not always as green and as warm as it looks there. So it might make it tough to send people out, and it's not always easy to kind of find the issues anyway. Now you can use actually mixed reality in this case with HoloLens to troubleshoot what's going on. So Ben, why don't you step into the future and apply the HoloLens. And then we're going to track you to see what you can see here with your app as you attempt to troubleshoot and fix the power grid.
Perfect. All right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay, so I'm going to get you to grab this phone over here, Jeremy, so you can project to everyone else what I'm doing.
Okay.
All right, we'll see how we go. So now in front of me, what you can see is my virtual command console. Across the top here, I have those same feeds that I had on my dashboard before of the IoT sensors bringing me things like load. I can see the issues that are coming up. And I can also see input coming in from those drones that are out there assessing those power lines. So I've gone into that power line. You can see all the images that have come across from my drone here with the bounding boxes that are showing you exactly where my problem is. So as I said, we have a problem with one of my insulators. So I'm going to bring up that insulator. And you'll
There
notice
it is.
now here is that 3D representation that I was playing with earlier that you couldn't see. And you can see with this, I can now zoom this in, I can rotate that. This is a full 3D model of that insulator that I was using before. Now what I want to do here is I'm going to come back in and I'm going to select an alternative insulator to use on my power line. So now that I'm happy with the glass and ceramic insulator, I'm going to apply that to my power line. And as I do that, you'll see what we get now is machine learning models that have been run against that insulator and other materials that we have. And this gives me a view as to what is the best material to use on this power line. Now you'll notice we actually have an option in there that has a 0% failure rate, but it adds a whole bunch of load to the power system overall and potentially still puts my grid at risk. But we'll notice the one that I've selected has 15% failure rate, but only adds an additional 20%. So that seems like the one I'm going to use today. So I'm going to go ahead and create my ticket, swap out for my new insulator model, and then just like that, I'm going to go and submit my ticket to Dynamics 365 so that my field service agent can then use this to go and make that repair.
All right, very cool stuff. What do you guys think? Put that right back there. So now, back to the here and now. So we saw a great example then of how we can really get real-time data from the grid and bring those into, from the IoT devices, bring those back to machine learning and really deep learning from the edge for predictive analysis.
Yeah, and there are a number of technologies really working together to make this possible. What we've set out to do here is to give you an entire platform with Azure, with IoT and also Databricks and machine learning, and bring all of those devices at the edge together to communicate and feed data back to a platform that also enables you to manage the health of those devices and then apply predictive and intelligence to that, apply intelligence and predictive insights to that using machine learning and cognitive services, which can then also trigger workflows, as you saw, often to things like Dynamics 365. So what we have for this solution is a number of IoT devices, from our drones to our pylons and our substations. They're then capturing detailed images, running cognitive services over those images, and pushing that up into our Cosmos DB. We then have that data fed through into Databricks, which uses that information to be able to build our machine learning models, and then we can use that to test changes before we apply them in the real world. Of course, all of that information can then be used to render our 3D environment so that when I'm working with those different objects, I can do that in a virtual world before I go and submit that field ticket off to Dynamics 365 Field Service.
Very cool, very cool. So, of course, in the future, you'd be able to augment this solution at the silicon level, effectively using Azure Sphere. And now, can you break this down, though, and actually show us what the app code itself looks like and what you had to do to build this stuff out?
Yeah, so what I have here is my Azure Data Bricks notebook. And you can see as we go through here, we've actually got a number of things that we're doing. As we scroll down, I've got my code in here where I'm loading my images from storage. We run them through some pre-processing. We then use MML Spark to be able to run across those images and build that machine learning model. And then as I scroll down here, you can see here's a sample image that actually comes out of that MML Spark model. So we use all of our images, and then as we come through, we can start to see where we detect anomalies and really break down those components of that image to detect where there are issues. And then once we have that machine learning model set up, we can then containerize that and push that out to our drones.
Great, Ben. So you've really made this real for us. But where can people learn more if they want to actually get their hands on all of this and start trying it for themselves?
So if you want an overview of AI and machine learning to get started, you can check out the Azure Essentials series on mechanics. We also have a number of other areas you can check out, akams.mixreality/mixreality/GoDatabricks, and also the Microsoft.com Learn website has all of these resources to get you started.
And of course, keep checking back to Microsoft Mechanics for the latest tech updates in reality and in mixed reality. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time, and goodbye for now.